afternoon. Welcome to our Welcome Home Arriving on Campus webinar. My name is Marissa Lishinsky. I'm one of the Associate Directors in the Office of Student Engagement, and I'm joined by my colleague.
Hi there, my name is Meredith Smith, and I'm the Associate Director for Living and Learning in the Office of Residence Life.
We're going to take the next hour or so to talk to you about our move-in day process as well as our fall welcome schedule, so focusing primarily on September 1st, 2019. So that is the official move-in day for the class of 2023, those folks who are living on campus, as well as our transfer students who are new to campus, and we will also be having a commuter orientation that day as well, so everybody who's new to campus. Our official website, if you want to review the schedule or review details that we're reviewing today, is fairfield.edu/fallwelcome.
Great, so this is all about the early arrival information. So move-in day is September 1st. However, we have a few other groups that will be moving in earlier. So if your student is participating in the Fairfield Challenge program, their move-in day is Thursday, August 29th from 8 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. on the Barone Campus Center at the second floor info desk. So there are two info desks in Barone. It's the second floor info desk. The next group that will also be moving in that day are our undergraduate international students, and there will be a shuttle pickup from JFK from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Thursday, August 29th. And move-in day will bring those students back to campus. Finally, we have our Honors Living and Learning Community move-in day on Friday, August 30th from 12:30 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. That move-in will happen right at Jogues Hall at the traffic circle. So again, if you're in any one of those groups, your move-in day is different from the rest of the class. So also we have on September 1st, we have September 1st through Monday, September 2nd, we have orientation and fall welcome for all our first-year students. The schedule starts at 2:15 p.m. with the President's Welcome. So this is after move-in day. We ask that every first year and their family be at the President's Welcome, and that will be on the fall welcome schedule. Really important that students, it's essential for them to be at both days, especially if you are a commuter student. You should be coming to campus both on Sunday for your commuter orientation and on Monday for that continued orienting to campus. Okay, so something really important, regardless of what day you're moving to campus, is that you, when you get ready to move in, you label all your belongings. It's really important that whatever you're bringing to campus has your full name, your building, and room number. So example, Meredith Smith, Campion 301. We have a lot of helpers on move-in day, especially on September 1st, and we want to make sure that all your items do make it to the correct room. So labeling is really helpful. I highly recommend either using masking tape or blue tape for labels. We will also have some assistance in students to help label different items. If you have, we would recommend using reusable containers as you label, so plastic. Cardboard is highly discouraged. We really want to cut down on waste. So if you can use bags and sustainable materials for move-in, things that you can reuse each year, that's something we definitely recommend.
So now we're going to talk about arrival times. It is very essential that you try to arrive as close to the arrival time that we have posted as possible to help with our traffic flow. Just because we have a lot of people coming to campus that day, we want to make sure things are as smooth as possible. So we do have folks moving into the residence halls by floor. And so those of you who have assignments on the 4th floor of the building, so that's going to be Jogues and Regis halls, you're going to start the move-in process at 7:30 a.m. For those who are on the 3rd floor in any of the buildings, you're going to start at 8:30 a.m. and then so on and so forth. So 2nd floor will move in at 9:30 a.m. and then 1st and ground floors will start at 10:30 a.m. Those transfer students who are living on campus, we're going to ask you to go to the Barone Campus Center to the Residence Life office before proceeding to your residence hall. That's where you'll be able to pick up your key for your building and your schedule for the day. And you can stop by the Barone Campus Center from 7:30 a.m. until 11:15 a.m. before going to your residence hall.
Great. So we are so excited for Move-In Day. Here's a little bit of information of how many students who will be moving into each of these areas. Campion Hall houses about 250 residents. Jogues is our largest first-year building, 300 residents. Regis, our second largest building, which is also 300 residents. Gonzaga is 215 residents. Loyola Hall will have 130 residents from the class of 2023. That is the first and second floor of that building. And then our commuters, we have 65 strong. We also are excited to welcome our transfer students, who are about 45 for this incoming class. So we're really excited to see you on that day.
So now we're going to get into the specifics of the actual traffic flow for the morning portion of the experience. So we're asking that everybody enter through the main gate, which is 1073 North Benson Road. A lot of times if you put into your GPS Fairfield University, it will bring you to another gate, so please use the address 1073 North Benson Road. So we're asking that you come into the main gate. All of the other gates will be closed in the morning because we have a certain traffic pattern. Campus is actually a one-way it's set up one-way traffic flow for that morning. So it's really important that you are following the directions. And we'll have plenty of people around and signs around to tell you where to go when. So everyone enters through the main gate, and we'll have some maps coming up shortly. But Campion, Jogues, and Loyola Hall residents will stay forward when you get to a turning point. You're going to stay forward and go to that side of campus. Gonzaga and Regis Hall residents, as well as transfer students, are going to take an immediate left when you get into campus. And then Gonzaga and Regis Hall residents will kind of go around campus in a loop. And the transfer students will then take a right into the parking lot that's closest to the Barone Campus Center to check in at the Residence Life office. Really important, again, to not only label your belongings that we'll be taking out of your vehicle, but also to label where you're going. So we do have signs on our Fall Welcome website, which is the building name on it, so that we can better direct you when you're in traffic, telling you which direction to go into. So it's a simple, like Loyola Hall, so that we know if you're in the right line or not. And that's only applicable to the class of 2023. Transfer students, you're going to go directly to the Residence Life office. So here are our maps. So that just kind of outlines the red arrows are where you start from the North Benson front gate. And then Gonzaga and Regis Hall residents are going to take that immediate left once you get to a turning point. Campion and Jogues and Loyola Halls are going to stay straight at that turning point. Jogues and Loyola traffic will stay in that right lane, so that is where that orange arrow takes place. And then Campion traffic or Campion residents will stay to the left. And so typically during the school year, this is a two-way street, but we're making it one way for this time. So that's why we have it split.
Okay, so this is information about when you make it to your residence hall. And something that Marissa said, there will be plenty of people directing traffic. So if you forget which line you're supposed to be in, when you arrive to campus, there will be individuals directing which queue, whether you're in the Gonzaga Regis queue or the Jogues, Loyola, and Campion queue. So don't stress too much about that. What I would say is when you arrive close to your building, your community, there will be unloading zone areas. We'll be giving you an arrival time card, and we're looking to include a student's name, room number, and cell phone that we can reach either the student or the driver of that vehicle. One person must remain with the car at all times. We will have student helpers and volunteers helping you unload, but we really, to have this be a smooth process, we'll be asking that once that car is unloaded, you move and park it nearby. We have a lot of parking on campus, and there'll be directions to parking lots. So again, really important so we can get students in a quick and orderly fashion, that one person does stay with the car at all times. So the first step to move in is that your student will walk there'll be a check-in table located near the entrance of the building. They will pick up some really critical items. They'll pick up their keys and their welcome packet, and they will also check in online at that check-in table. Immediately after unloading that car, please move your car to any lot designated for move-in day. Students will also be asked to pick up their STAG card at the BCC lower level that day, which you'll have ample time to do that morning. Great. So this picture is an example of our Regis queue. Believe it or not, it does move very quickly. So students will be coming from down the hill where you see that red vehicle, and we'll be lining them up and getting ready to unload you right by Regis Hall. This is an example of Regis Hall. We have parking spaces that we use all of them for unloading. Once that's unloaded, there'll be somebody to help you direct you out of that immediate parking area to move your car to a close parking lot nearby. Awesome. This is the example of Loyola, Campion, and Jogues. The stairway in this picture is of Loyola Hall. Folks moving into Loyola can park directly in that parking lot across the street and unload there, or they can pull up along the side of the road. This line closest to the sidewalk is the Campion queue, so we'll be directing folks there, and then the side on the left is for Jogues Hall, which we'll be directing there. As you can see, this is Campion. We'll have cars pull right up to Campion, unload, and then move, and you can see the queue for the Jogues line as well in that photo. Great. So this is a little daunting, but don't worry, it moves pretty quickly. This is the queue for the Jogues move-in. Again, if you are moving into Jogues that morning, you have two options. You can either pull into the traffic circle, or you can pull, there's a parking lot directly across the street from Jogues for unloading. There's an example of the Jogues circle. You see the check-in table. That's where your student will pick up their welcome packet and key, and will be unloading vehicles quickly. Okay, so parking on campus, really important. Once you've unloaded, where do I move my car? Really important. We have a lot of parking on campus. We have a brand new parking facility, our parking garage, which you'll see when you enter campus. There's the rear of the Recplex next to the Barone Campus Center, where your student's picking up their STAG card. That is also near where the President's Welcome is at 215. There's also parking available at the Bellarmine Hall, the Quick Center, the Barone Campus Center, Fairfield Prep, Dolan School of Business, and the Walsh Athletic Center. So pretty much any parking lot on campus is available to you that day. So just a heads up on the Jogues lot, that is reserved for Jogues families only and students that day. There will be signs across campus that will direct you to where parking is. Again, when you unload your car, it's most likely, I find that students and families find it easier to move their car to a place that is closer to where the fall welcome activities are happening. Okay, so a couple really important things. This is the do not bring list. This is also conveniently located on the Fall Welcome website. Really important. These items pretty much are hazards, and that's why they are on the do not bring list. So any halogen bulbs or lamps, we find that anything labeled with UL is pretty much approved. So you'll find that halogen products are not labeled UL. Hot plates, toasters, electric frying pans, George Foreman grills, or similar type grills, these are not allowed because they are a fire hazard. We ask that students do not bring anything with an open heating source. Air conditioners are not allowed unless you are approved through accommodation. That's something that we can connect on offline if you have questions about that. Mercury thermometers, obviously candles, hoverboards, alcohol. Our first-year students unless they are 21, should not be bringing alcohol. So please do not pack alcohol for your students. Microwave ovens and refrigerators. The university, we provide a microwave and refrigerator for each student in their residence hall. So no need to bring an extra one. Please do not. Pets. Other than fish in a 10-gallon or less tank, we do not allow pets on campus. Other key things, water beds and mattresses. We provide students with mattresses. Please do not bring your own mattress. And then we have a pretty robust wireless network on campus, so students should not be bringing routers, switches, or other wireless items. That's just something that's pretty important. So one exciting thing, a little over a year ago, we went to this wireless cable. So it's called Philo EDU, and you can find out more on our website. So you don't need to actually bring anything for your television. No coaxial cable is necessary. What you will need if you're going to be watching television on a TV is a Roku-enabled device. So that's a Roku TV or a Roku stick. And that'll give students access to Philo. Students will also be able to watch TV from their mobile devices and laptop computers. Every student will automatically get a Philo EDU account, which is kind of exciting. Every student has their own DVR capabilities, so they can tape shows and watch them anytime when on the university campus. So it's kind of fun. I live on campus and I really enjoy it, so I recommend it. So a couple of just general information. Our first year rooms tend to be 10 feet by 17 feet or 11 by 16. They're roughly about the same size. If you are planning on bringing a carpet, because all first year buildings are tiled, we recommend 10 by 12 or less. Each room comes with 2 desks, which has 3 drawers, a desk chair, beds, which can be raised or lofted, a 3-drawer dresser, and a wardrobe or closet, depending on the room. And then students will share a microfridge between roommates.
We're going to shift gears a little bit now and talk about the actual events that are happening.
Yay.
So once students are in their residence halls and settled, we have a lot of different things going on. From 8 a.m. till about 2:30 p.m., we will have activities going on in our quad, and that is where all of the first year residence halls are located. So we will be having a cookout there for lunch that starts at 10:30 a.m. We'll have some music playing, we'll have a photo booth opportunity, and a tent where you can visit different faces of Fairfield or different representatives from different offices to just kind of talk to you, ask your questions too. At 12:15, we begin our first formal program. So that is for Session C students. So those are class of 2023 students who did not attend June orientation, and transfer students who also did not attend June orientation, as well as their families, to do a campus partner meet and greet. And so that's going to be kind of a resource panel where they'll give an overview of their offices and then be able to answer any questions that folks have. At 1:15, we do start having simultaneous programs happening. So it's really important to just be aware of kind of where you fall and where you're supposed to be during that time slot. If you don't do something from the 1:15 to 2 o'clock time slot, you will then do it from the 2:15 to 3 o'clock time slot. So we will have 2 President's Welcome addresses, same content, just different folks in the audience. So students who live in Jogues, Gonzaga, and Loyola halls, as well as their family members, will do that at 1:15, and that will be in the Recreational Complex Field House. Those folks who are not in that session for the first year students will be at the residence life meetings. So students will be in their residence halls on their floors meeting their resident assistants as well as their neighbors, while family members are asked to meet with the professional staff who work in that building, and those locations will be on the schedules given out that day. For those transfer students and family members, we are having a transfer academic planning overview session with our with Dr. Liggis, who is going to talk about what our core curriculum looks like and how to successfully navigate academics as a transfer student on campus. And then at 2:15, we'll ask the folks who did not already attend the President's Welcome Address to do so. So that would be students and their families from Campion and Regis Halls, as well as commuters and transfer students and their families. And then residents of Jogues, Gonzaga, and Loyola halls will be meeting with their resident assistants and their neighbors on the floors, and family members will be meeting with professional life that work in that building or residential area. Then at 3:15, everybody is welcome to join us for an interfaith mass, which is going to be held in our Quick Center for the Arts. We wanted to be able to accommodate everybody who wanted to celebrate Mass with us, so that's why we are not having it in the chapel this year. We want to have enough space for everybody to attend. Following Mass, we do ask that families depart campus because students will continue on with their fall welcome schedule for the rest of that evening and the next day. So we are finalizing the fall welcome schedule for students, which will be posted on the website soon, and we will be handing them out on the morning of September 1st as well. So Fall Welcome is just a little bit different than the move-in day schedule, where it's just for students. So it really picks up after families leave for the day. It does include both Sunday, September 1st, where family members are going to be there, but then also Monday, September 2nd. It really focuses on community building. We're going to have another Step Up Stag session. That's a continuation from orientation to just talk about how folks on campus are part of the greater community and how we want people to interact with one another. There's going to be some residence hall meetings. There will be a community orientation that Meredith talked about before, and a lot of social activities. We will also be holding campus tours and shuttles downtown so that folks feel more comfortable with being part of the Fairfield community. So that concludes our formal portion of the presentation. We would like to now answer some questions that folks have for us. So if you have already been submitting them through the YouTube channel, that's wonderful. We are going to kind of read some of those questions. We also have reviewed the questions sent into the engagement@fairfield.edu email address. And if you have questions and you haven't already asked them, please feel free to send them along.
Can I tag in real quick just to, can we go back to that move-in day
Sure.
slide? Just something I said might have been a little confusing. Just note that 1:15 is the start time for the Fall Welcome schedule, not 2:15. So I do
Correct.
apologize if that was unclear.
Commuter students who choose not to come to campus earlier in the day, we ask that you definitely attend that 2:15 session.
Right, so it's
So-
2:15 for commuters, but 1:15 for everybody else. Thanks.
Thanks.
Okay.
So we have Zach joining us, and he's going to ask some of your questions.
Great, thanks.
You guys ready?
Yes.
First question. Approximately how many students will arrive on Friday the 30th?
That's a great question.
That is a great question.
It's about, I would say 90 students will be arriving early that day. And those are students who are solely in the honors living and learning community for first-year students.
Gotcha. This might be a Meredith question. Does the school provide risers for the beds, or do parents have to buy them?
Great question. So we provide lofting parts, which are extra bed ends if students want to loft their beds higher. And students can loft their beds like with the original bed ends, but we do not provide risers directly to students. There will be a Bed Bath and Beyond tent on campus, and they will have some of those supplies if it's something that you want to decide when you get here. Typically, a bed can be lofted so they can fit their dresser under it, which I want to say is about 32 inches. Getting real technical for you.
Gotcha. Another question. Have the renovations in Jogues been completed?
Jogues Hall will be ready, knock on wood, on time. We're really excited. We'll be all set for next week. So we'll be communicating with our Honors LLC students and Jogues residents within the next few days. But everything is on schedule.
Awesome. And I'll just shoot this out to whoever wants to answer this one. If you park in the Jogues parking lot instead of pulling up, into the circle there, will students be available to help from the Jogues parking lot, I'd imagine?
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. So something that's great is that we not only have folks that are available all across campus to help people move in their items into the building, but then we also have shopping carts and big laundry bins. So we will make sure that we disseminate them appropriately to help with folks that have a longer way to get from their drop-off space to inside the building. And then we'll be navigating how those items get up into the residence hall rooms as well. So people will be everywhere, and carts will be everywhere to assist with that process. And then those folks that do unload from the Jogues parking lot don't have to move their car from there. So if you want to just pull up and not have to move again, that might be a good option for Jogues residents.
Cool. Another question that came into the engagement email. What is the height under the beds if they're not lofted?
It's the highest point can be 32 inches, I believe. Yes, it's 32 inches tall. Which will, if they're not lofted, you can fit your dresser under that. And that is the dresser is a little bit shorter than that.
Cool. And probably a very common question asked, can you confirm which dorms have air conditioning?
Yes. So Campion Hall and Jogues Hall are currently our only first-year buildings with air conditioning. Regis, Loyola, and Gonzaga do not currently have air conditioning. This is something we're working on each summer. A building comes online. Hopefully we'll be all set by 2021.
Cool. Here's a question about an early arrival. My son will arrive to campus earlier in the month for rugby camp. Will he be able to move in directly to his resident hall?
Yes, that is, we've been working closely with the rugby coach, and all first-year students coming with rugby should be able to move it directly into their current assignments.
That does bring up a good point, though, that I forgot to mention before. Any student who is already on campus before September 1st, we do ask you to go and check into your residence hall on that morning to get the rest of your items. So we want you to make sure that you have your fall welcome schedule, and so that can be right at the check-in table in your residence hall. And that will be anytime before noon. We ask you to stop by there.
Yeah, so those groups include rugby, honors, Fairfield Challenge, and international students will all be should be picking up a welcome packet on September 1st. And I know that's included on the honor schedule, which we will be receiving in the next few days.
Cool. And another question, there's a couple in here about triples. So what is the configuration of a triple in Campion?
Excellent. I'll take this one. So triples in Campion, all our triples are true triples. We lay out the room so that nothing is lofted or bunked, but students can choose to loft or bunk their spaces. But they're 3 desks, 3 chairs, 3 wardrobes, wall space for each student. And then students can reconfigure from there depending on their preferences. One thing I would note is sometimes it hasn't happened lately, like students will want to bring large futons and couches. I don't recommend that for our first year community. These rooms are not sized to bring everything from home to campus. So just something to note, whether it's a true triple or not, of a traditional double as well.
And a pro tip from someone who's worked with students living on campus for a while is just make sure that before you change any of the furniture around, all of the roommates are present and are able to be part of that decision, because you want to make sure that the space feels welcoming and that everybody feels comfortable with what the setup is. So we design the rooms to be in a certain format, and you can move the furniture around, but just make sure that everyone agrees to that new format.
That's a great point.
So.
Cool. We got another question about early arrival. Will help be available for students moving in on the 30th?
We will have limited staff available, so we are going to try to have the carts available to make things moving easier, and we will have limited staff available to help with the actual moving. But if you can bring folks to help you, that would be appreciated, because we won't have as many people as we will on the actual move-in day.
Right. If you are, and I assume this question is for Jogs, but we will have the Honors LLC is on the 1st and 2nd floor, so it's a little less stairs, which is great. But we will have honors student leaders available, as well as the entire Jokes staff is going to help with that move-in process. Again, that time frame is 12:30 to 4:30. You don't need to come right at 12:30. Like we gave a broader time frame so that folks can arrive and move in at their leisure on the 30th. It's not as hectic as move-in day, which also moves very smoothly.
Cool. And remember I told you there were questions about triples. Are there 3 dressers, 3 desks, and 3 closets in the triple rooms?
Yes, there are 3 sets of furniture in triples. Yeah, full 3 sets. I believe it's all wardrobes as opposed to closets, yes.
Okay. I think someone's asking for more detail on bringing things from their car into their rooms.
Sure.
Because the question says, so we don't bring up our child's stuff. What is the process of getting things from the car into the student's room?
Great.
So I would say, I can actually go ahead.
So our main priority is making sure that everything gets out of the car, and then the car is moved as soon as possible. We will have many folks on hand to physically pick up those belongings and put them in carts. We also want the student to go right to the check-in table to get their key so that they can get into their room and start setting up things. We should have enough people on hand to help get all those belongings inside, but you are more than welcome to also assist that process to make things go more smoothly. And especially depending on the weather, we never know what it's going to look like.
Yes.
If it's raining, we will definitely want to get those items in earlier rather than later. But if you have any mobility issues or you aren't physically able to move in, don't worry, your students' belongings will get into the building. But again, it's really important, we're going to reiterate, to label those belongings with first name, last name, building, and room number so that we make sure things end up in the right place, because with so many volunteers, we want to make sure that they know where they're going.
And something I would recommend, and something we tell volunteers on that day, like, none of us will enter that building without something in our hands, and we
Yeah.
recommend that for families as well. It's a team effort. Like, we have a very smooth move-in process because we're all in it together and working hard. It's great.
Then we have a question about beanbag chairs. Are beanbags
Oh.
all right, or a
Yeah.
beanbag-like
So
chairs?
like a beanbag chair or yogi bow, depending on the size, I would just recommend like a smaller size because this is a shared space. But yeah, those are definitely A-okay.
Cool. And then, Meredith, do you think you can go over the bed lofting again?
Sure.
And do you get them on move-in day, or do you buy them beforehand?
So there are a few exceptions. I'll start with the exceptions. So Loyola and Gonzaga Hall, the university will loft beds just because of the type furniture for you. So there will be bed lofting forms at the check-in table. If students want their beds lofted, we will take those requests and then loft those just because of the type of furniture in those two communities. And then all the other first-year halls will have mallets and bed lofting parts available. Either it's typically in the first floor lounge of the building or near the hallway, and we'll have mallets at the check-in table that can be borrowed. There are no tools required to loft those beds, except for extra bed ends. And so we'll have those supplies available to you on move-in day.
And just to clarify for people who aren't familiar with the types of beds we have on campus, so bed risers are kind of typically plastic things that you buy from any kind of college prep store that raise the bed a couple inches by putting the risers underneath the bed foots or bed feet. What Meredith is talking about lofting the beds is that sometimes you can move the spring part of the bed within the bed frame. So that's what you would need the mallet to adjust it at different heights within that wooden frame. So you would adjust them on the different feet. And then you could also loft your bed by adding additional headrests and footrests to make it even higher. So that's kind of the difference. Is sometimes it's hard to imagine if you don't actually see the beds, but you can adjust the frame within the parts that come within the room, or you can add an additional frame to make it even higher.
Yeah, great.
Cool. Another question about early move-in. What is a good time for the live and learning community / early move-in parents to return to campus on Sunday?
Ooh.
That's a great question. For parents, it's optional to come back to campus on Sunday. I know that not all our Honors LLC parents will be able to come back to campus, but I would recommend for 1:15 to be there for the President's Welcome Address. That would be my recommendation, specifically for Jokes Hall.
Yep. And one thing that we didn't include in the slideshow, but it is available on our website, is the other offerings that are happening while the move-in process is happening. So all students are asked to go to the STAG card office in the Barone Campus Center to retrieve their STAG card if they didn't already receive it as part of a pre-arrival program that morning before 2:30 p.m. They're going to need that STAG card to get into their residence hall, to access their meal plan, to print things on campus. So we want them to make sure that they have it as soon as possible. Right outside of the STAG card office, we will be having an information fair with a couple of different resources that folks tend to want to talk to on move-in day. So we'll have counseling and psychological services and the health center staff there, as well as information technology services, who will also be floating around the hall helping troubleshoot any issues that people are encountering. And then we'll have a couple off-campus vendors visit us, so representatives from local banks, from grocery stores, a couple different surprise offerings during that time. So we encourage people to visit the Barone Campus Center in addition to going to their mailboxes to try out their mailbox combination and pick up any mail that they sent to campus over the summer. They can go to the Stag Spirit Shop, which is where they can purchase the Fairfield apparel that we offer. They can pick up their textbooks that they've ordered online. So those will be open throughout the day. And then we will also have the financial aid staff and bursar's office staff. So if you have questions about paying your bill or questions about scholarships or your financial aid package, they will be in the Kelly Center, which is right across the way from the Bed Bath & Beyond tent and the Barone Campus Center from 10 to 2:30. So there's a lot going on campus. So if students are already settled in the halls and just want to kind of hang out and enjoy what's going on campus, you can do that throughout the morning. But if you're looking for an official session start time, I'd say 1:15.
Great question.
So.
Cool. And a question about academic immersion. Will the academic immersion students need to pick up their welcome packet before noon?
Yes. Yep. So the schedule for the 2-day program is only going to be available in the residence halls lobbies on that morning on September 1st. For those students who are coming as commuters, we will get them to you as well, and transfer students will pick them up when they visit Residence Life to get their key before going to their residence hall.
Cool. For students arriving on the 30th, will there be family and or student activities prior to the September 1st and September 2nd activities?
So we'll include this when we, by the end of the week, all honor students will be receiving an email with their move-in schedule. We do have move-in, and then we have a family meeting with your student, but there are not a lot of family activities that day. It's mostly for the students and their early arrival community process.
It seems like people might still be a little confused about the lofting. We're talking about, I guess, trying to distinguish between using the end frames versus the risers underneath.
Got you. So
I think it's all about how comfortable you are with how high off the ground you are and what you're
Sure.
looking to put under your bed. I know that as a student, when I went to Fairfield, I just did risers or just kept the bed right on the ground and just moved up the springs of the bed because I was only looking to have my dresser and some like storage containers underneath it. But if you're looking to have a space to have your desk underneath the bed or to have a sitting area underneath the bed, then you would want to loft your bed.
Cool. We have a question about club sports. I don't know how relevant this could be for this, but what is the process for learning about / signing up for club sports? Seems like all the links on the Fairfield website might be outdated, or maybe they're just not used as frequently. Is there an email or a person to contact over there?
So I would say that a great step for students to do is to go on to Life at Fairfield. That is our new engagement platform that was recently launched. And so they can log in, they can see all the different pages for all the different clubs and organizations that we have on campus. And then also attend our activities fair that we have on Friday, September 6th. That's going to take place from 4:30 to 6:30 right near the Stag statue. So right near the Brown Campus Center, kind of center of campus. And we'll have representatives from all student clubs and organizations to answer questions and have sign-up sheets.
And just throwing this out there, our club sports are advised by our wonderful colleagues in the recreation complex. So that's a student's one-stop shop if they're looking to get involved. And typically offices are open 8:30 to 4:30 during the week. So if a student is interested, there is a staff member who works with all club sports. So we can also get them in touch with that person before the activities fair, at the activities fair, after the activities fair.
There's never a wrong time to get involved. We always encourage folks to look into things that they're interested in doing
Yeah.
and getting connected with each other.
Cool. Can you go over the wireless printer requirement again and the Roku stick? What's going on with all that?
Got you. Yeah, a little confusing. So in terms of printing capabilities, printers cannot be like hooked up to a wireless network, to our network. So if a printer could be wireless, but as long as it also can wire into a student's the computer, that is what we recommend. We've also seen students not actually bring printers to campus. We do have these things called WEPA printers, which students can literally drop a paper into the cloud, and they're all across campus. We have several in the campus center. They're in all the academic buildings. We have a couple in the quad as well. So if you haven't purchased a printer, it's not necessary, but if you have, it just needs to be able to wire into a student's laptop or desktop. In terms of the TV, so it's basically internet TV, and philo.edu, it works on any Roku device. So if you have an Apple TV or an Amazon, that's not a device that it'll work on. It'll work on a Roku device. We do sell those in our campus spirit shop, and they're also available on Amazon. I think they run about $30 is the like most inexpensive model. That's the model I have. But students, if they're not bringing a TV for TV, if they're bringing it for gaming, that's not something they need to worry about, because the Philo works on all their mobile devices, their tablets, cell phones, or if they have a TV, they can plug it into the Roku device will connect to our university network. So it's basically a streaming internet TV service.
Cool. Here's some a question about check-in times. My daughter received information that her check-in time was 10 to 10:45 on the second floor of her building, but the webinar schedule shows 9:30 to 10:15. Which time is correct?
So the ones that we're talking about today are correct, and we are going to send out a confirmation email next week, just confirming the times. I'm trying to bring it back up on here, but we did shift up the times a little bit because we wanted folks to have more time to unpack and to get settled, and we wanted to make sure that the schedule for the families ended earlier in the day because we know that some people have a long drive home. So we shifted the schedule a little bit earlier than what was communicated out before. So fourth floor starts at 7:30, third floor starts at 8:30, second floor starts at 9:30, and first and ground floor start at 10:30. And again, we really encourage you to try your best to arrive at the time that we've advertised to help with our traffic flow, because we do have a lot of people floating in and out of campus.
And I'll be honest, like move-in is designed this way. Like it makes more sense. We try to move in the buildings top down, because it makes it smoother so that people aren't walking up the stairs while another floor is moving in. So we also have traffic flow inside the buildings that we try to manage on that day. So we do recommend that you stick to these times, and we apologize for any confusion with that.
Cool. And then a question about fridges and food storage. Is there a freezer compartment in the micro fridge, and is there a common kitchen for students to use?
So yes, each first-year building does have a common kitchen area that students can use that usually has like an oven, a stove, a larger refrigerator, a microwave as well. Within a student's room, the micro fridge comes with the micro fridge, some extra outlets, which are great, a freezer compartment, and then a little refrigerator area as well. And it tends to be fine for 2 students to have one micro fridge to themselves.
Cool. And then something more about the logistics inside the building. Is there a way to find out where a specific room is on the floor so you can determine which sets of stairs are closest to the room?
So on move-in day, we actually, for all the buildings, have designated stairwells that are up and down, and this is depending on the type of building that you're moving into. So you won't be using specific stairwells that are closer to your room. You'll be using either the stairway that is designated for upward movement or downward movement, depending on where you're headed. And that will be designated for Jogues and Regis. The upstairs are the middle stairway in the building. There's it's kind of the heart of the building is the stairwell. And the downstairs are the 2 side, the left and the right stairwells. In Campion, in Gonzaga, there are stairwells on either side of the building. One will be designated up and one will be designated down. So we'll take care of those logistics for you that day.
Awesome. And a question about carrying things from the car to inside. Should we bring fridge carts or should we bring hand trucks, dollies, things to make moving in easier?
I'm going to be honest, anything you have, if you have it handy, please feel free to bring it. I love when families bring their own dollies and know how to use them. Again, we will have shopping carts and laundry carts to assist, but by all means, any help is useful.
Yep. And for elevators in the building, we really try to make sure that we're only putting on the heavier things that are in carts, and occasionally people who need assistance going up and down the elevator. So anything that you can pack that's lighter so that you can carry it easily up and down the stairs is going to be helpful for the day of traffic flow.
And an important reminder, people helping, students helping, and faculty and staff helping people move in can only carry certain items, and certain items they are not allowed to carry.
Yeah.
Which would be heavy electronics and televisions and stuff like that.
Yeah, we don't want to recommend like our student volunteers carrying carrying like more expensive items like TVs. I know I'm clumsy. I would not want to break your TV on move-in day. So we do recommend that if you are bringing a more valuable item, that it's something that you can also carry. And also, I would not recommend very large screen TVs. Like they are not going to fit in your residence hall room. It should be a TV that is freestanding on its, that can stand on a desk or a dresser.
Cool. And a question about Bed Bath & Beyond. Our move-in time is 8:30 to 9:15 on Sunday, September 1st. Can we return a couple of hours later after we pick up the Bed Bath & Beyond pack? Because Bed Bath & Beyond doesn't open until 10 on Sunday.
Definitely. So for folks who already pre-ordered stuff from from Bed Bath & Beyond, you will in fact have to go to the Fairfield store to pick it up. And Zach is, or the person who made that comment is correct that what time they open. For those folks who are looking to purchase items on campus, so say you forgot something or something didn't fit in your car and you wanted to buy it once you got here and unloaded, we will have the tent set up on campus. I believe they're going to be there until about 4 p.m. So you can definitely do your shopping on campus. If you are looking to go off campus, that's fine. Come in and go out as you please. Just make sure that you're back in time for your sessions. Just be aware that it might take a little bit longer to get back to campus if folks are still coming in from North Benson Road, and it might take a little bit more time to find a parking space on campus. But definitely you are free to go off campus. Feel free to do that for lunch as well. We will have everything you need right on campus, but we want to encourage you to kind of be one with the community and do what you need to do to feel like you are all set to start classes on Tuesday.
Cool. Marissa, do you mind reiterating the point about the confirmation email to confirm move-in times?
Sure. So students, check your Fairfield email accounts next week, and that is basically going to reiterate what we're talking about in the webinar right now, but it will confirm the move-in times by floor, and just other helpful information that we find folks need to know next week.
This is definitely a question for Meredith. Can curtain rods be installed?
Oh, great question. Curtains. So actually, we provide curtains for all students. This is also a fire code thing. So we do not encourage students to bring their own curtains. We should probably add that to the do not bring list. So there will be curtains already installed in your students' room. So please don't bring your own curtains or curtain rods.
Cool. And a question about ordering books. If they want to order books online now from another company, can the books be sent to their mailbox on campus?
They can. So all students should have received their mailbox or their mailing address for campus. So they can start sending things to that address whenever they want to do so. And we, again, encourage you to pick it up on the morning of the 1st, but it will be open, the mailroom will be open on Monday the 2nd as well. So just be aware that if there's long lines or you have other things that you want to get accomplished on Sunday, you will have plenty of time to do so on Monday and throughout the week as well. But yes, first year students can start mailing things to their addresses now.
Cool. And then another question pursuant to move-in day activities. Are there any family activities on Monday, or should we say our goodbyes at 4:15 after Mass on Sunday?
So we won't have any formal programs for family members on Monday. So if you're coming from afar, I would have that final goodbye be that Sunday afternoon. Students will have an opportunity to kind of choose their own adventure on Monday afternoon. So between 2 and dinner time, they'll have a chance to kind of relax and do what they want to do with a couple different options that we're offering. So if folks are local or if they plan to stay around on Monday, you can definitely come back and visit. But we just want to make sure that students are attending all the sessions that are required on their schedules. So those should be making their way onto the website soon, and they can be reviewed on the day of in hard copy as well.
Yeah, and just something to recommend. I would recommend that you do say your goodbyes at 4:15 on Sunday. It's really important in terms of the activities that are planned. We're really trying to connect your students with other students and help them transition. And sometimes, just from experience, having family members so close by, it doesn't, the student gets kind of attached, and it's harder for them to transition. So we do recommend that 4:15, that is when you do say your goodbyes, and yeah, that's what I would recommend, just from my own experience.
And they're just goodbyes for now. They're not goodbyes forever. It's enjoy your first week of classes. We'll talk soon.
Yeah.
So, yep.
Cool. We have a question about Gonzaga. For Gonzaga students that fill out a form to rise and or loft the bed, will that be done on move-in day?
Probably not. We will be focusing that day just on, we will have staff on campus that day, carpenters on campus, But I cannot guarantee that that will get done on move-in day just by the sheer number of things happening on campus. But typically that is done within the first week of school. So that's something we collect those and we put in those work orders immediately. So they get done on a first come first served basis, but they will be done no additional charge during that first week of school.
Cool. And just to reiterate, does Jogues have air conditioning?
Jogues will have air conditioning, yes. Yes.
Another move-in early question relating to rugby. Where do these students who are in the rugby camp get their room key / stag card for the cafe the cafeteria that week, and et cetera?
In terms of rugby move-in, we will be working with the rugby coach to ensure students are contacted. Probably today or tomorrow, they will be receiving an email with their full move-in information. So typically early arrival students who are not associated with Fairfield Challenge International or Honors will be picking up their keys from the Office of Residence Life. We share actually an office with student engagement, and we're located in the BCC lower level. We have a floating desk outside that office, and typically students, I believe they're moving in on Sunday, will be picking up their keys from there, as well as stag cards.
And meals for all pre-arrival students are scheduled through the program coordinator. So when they get onto campus and see their schedule, they're going to know when they can go to the Tully Dining Commons for meals. And our meal plans don't actually start until Sunday at 4 p.m. And so students who are on campus before that will have a process with their program coordinator to get into the dining hall for those meals. So they don't need to worry about using their meal plan before that Sunday, September 1st, but they should definitely pay attention to the information that their program coordinator is sharing. So,
Cool. Question about classes. When and where does the ad drop period start?
wonderful.
Great question.
So it's going to run from Tuesday, September 3rd, so the first day of classes, until Monday, September 9th. I think that's the correct dates. And students should be visiting their dean's offices to assist with that ad drop process. So they will go there. They might have a combination of appointments and walk-ins. Typically, they have walk-ins during this time, and they can get assistance with making adjustments to their schedule with one of the assistant deans.
Okay, a question about the streaming services again. Is the Roku the same as the Fire Stick? Will they both be able to run the program?
Great question. So Roku and a Fire Stick is the Amazon version of a Roku, and I don't believe Philo is accessible via a Fire Stick. So again, you're definitely going to want a Roku device. There's, again, more information if you Google philo.edu on our website, or search rather, not Google, on our website. There's just the process and what is needed. Again, and a Roku stick is very much like a Fire Stick. It's just a different product. And the nice thing about that is if students have other streaming services like Hulu or Netflix, they can also view that content on their Roku stick.
Cool. And question about the things you cannot bring. Where does a humidifier and a dehumidifier fall in the things that you can or cannot bring?
So humidifiers and dehumidifiers are definitely something that students can bring. I just would be mindful of the size of that item, and that item is indeed a dehumidifier or a humidifier and not an air conditioner.
Question, how big is the fridge in the room?
That's a great question. I do not have those direct dimensions. I'm trying to think. I can ballpark it. They're about, I want to say 52 inches tall. It might be a little taller than that. But yeah, I don't have the exact square footage or inches, but I can find out.
Okay. We're getting a couple questions about textbooks and renting textbooks. Just to briefly cover that, who should they contact, or is there a point of contact for people for us to direct them to relating to renting books and things of that nature?
Sure. So a week or two ago, all new incoming students were sent an email with information about purchasing and renting textbooks through the bookstore. So I would encourage students to look back at their Fairfield email addresses for that direct link. But our campus website does have the Stag Spirit Shop and the Downtown Bookstore websites have information right on there about their renting processes. And students can actually find what textbooks they need for their specific classes right now. So if they go onto the textbook website and they have their schedule with them, they can put what subject. So say they're taking calculus, so that would be under the math department. Then they would find the course number. So say it's, I don't know the number for calculus, but 152. And then they would put in their specific section. So that's the day and time, and that's indicated on their schedule. And then it will pull up for what books or materials the professor has submitted are required for the class. And it will give you those options of if you purchase it new from the bookstore, if you purchase it used from the bookstore, or if there is a rental option. It will outline all of those, and then you can select which is best for you and add it to your cart and then check out online and either have it sent home or have it be picked up at the bookstore. And so we have had a little bit of difficulty with the website, so if you're having any issues, feel free to reach out to orientation at fairfield.edu with those questions, or to the bookstore directly. But the best bet is really to take the student's schedule and to type in that information in, rather than trying to have the student log in and then automatically have the pull of the schedule. That's the difficulty we're having with the website right now. But the original question was, how do they go about renting textbooks, or who do they contact? So they can do it right on the website. And those rentals are just for the semester. It's not for the full year. So they would have to return it by the certain date, which is typically the last day of finals.
Yeah, and just so that nobody's too scared, you will be prompted when you go to check out at the bookstore on their website. If you want a textbook substitution, you'll be prompted with two options, as in if you went to go buy a book used or new. If they don't have it used, they might ask you for, they might ask that question. If you click yes, you want a textbook substitution, they will give you the new one. If you bought used, or if you bought new and they want to send you a used one, you will get the book regardless, as long as you click yes. But if you click no, they will take that book option off of your cart, and you will proceed to check out without that book selection, because that became a question in the chat.
Great. And it will tell you right when you're going to check out if the book is on back order, or if they don't have the version of it that you're asking for. So you'll know right then and there. You won't show up to campus, get your order, and realize that things are missing. And you do have an option to look elsewhere for those books, but the bookstore works directly with the professors, and they know the exact editions and copies and codes and everything like that. So we do recommend that you consider starting with the Fairfield textbook website.
Gotcha. And what if no book is currently listed? I'll take that one. If there's no book listed, then that means that the professor has not prompted them to buy a book yet, and it is still also a possibility that they may not need a book for that class. But that is on the professors.
And some professors don't even require purchasing material. Sometimes they use open learning materials, or just post things on their Blackboard course. And so if you do have questions, you do have contact information for the professors on the schedule. So you could always email them directly. They aren't on contract until right before classes start, so you might not get an immediate answer, but we always recommend, if you have questions about the materials that are posted or are not posted, to reach out to the professor, because they're going to know best about what they want you to purchase or come prepared with for the first day of classes.
Cool, and we're on to our last couple questions. How were the incoming first years made aware of their mailing address? Was it sent via email, or was it sent via snail mail?
It was sent via email, and so we did send it to their Fairfield email accounts and the personal email accounts that was on file for the application process. So definitely they should check their Fairfield University email account, but they might have it elsewhere as well. And everyone should have received it. I believe it was sent out 2 or 3 weeks ago. So if you look back, it was right around the beginning of August.
Cool. And maybe the last question, and maybe the most important question that I just have to ask, because someone brought it up. Can students bring their own Keurig or coffee maker device?
Oh, coffee, yes. So in terms of coffee devices, any single serving or coffee device that does not have an open heating source. So Keurigs are one of those that don't have an open heating source. Those are totally A-okay, just as long as there's no hot surface with that coffee maker. Yeah, some of us do love coffee, so we're excited. We'll be having multiple Dunkins on campus, and then up in the dining hall, we actually have our own brew of coffee. It's a local coffee shop, has a blend on campus. So yes, coffee is a must.
Cool. And then maybe one final quick one, are all the move-in day events mandatory?
For students, yes. Family members, as always, are welcome to come and go as they see fit and what they need to do to feel comfortable in the transition. Students, we ask that if it's not an optional event and on your schedule it will say if something is optional, that you do attend and show up. The new student leaders do actually take attendance at every single program, so they know who is going to things and who is not. And some of the sessions are actually critical to you having a successful onboarding experience. And so we ask you, if there is something that comes up and you realize that you are unable to make it for extenuating circumstances, that you keep us informed. So make sure you're communicating if you need to miss something. But if you're here and nothing is keeping you from doing so, please attend every session that is on your schedule.
Cool. And that's time. If you have any other questions, feel free to email engagement@fairfield.edu. If you want to go back to the website and view what you're going to be doing during Fall Welcome, go to fairfield.edu/fall welcome. That's fairfield.edu/fall welcome.
Okay. Thank you so much
Thank
for your time
you.
today.